everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Light After Trauma podcast. This is episode 69, I believe. Wow. It is wild that I have almost 70 episodes out, but I love it. I am loving it. So real quick, I just wanted to ask everybody to bear with me. So I've been listening back to some of the more recent episodes, especially the solo ones, and the sound is a little bit echoey. And I was aware of it when I first moved into the new home and got a new office. This office is different because it has hardwood floors. So I've had to do a lot to try to make the space something that would be very sound absorbent. I am pretty particular about sound quality, so I am aware of it. None of you have said anything because you are all wonderful and amazing human beings, but I notice it and I just wanted to let you know that I'm aware of it. I honestly thought that getting blinds in here would really help, but then I noticed in the episode that I recorded last week, it still sounded a little bit echoey. So I am doing everything I can on my end. I even have this sort of like foam sound absorbent like casing that's going around my microphone. So I'm trying to speak directly into that. But I just think it's going to be a little bit of time before I can buy some more things to sort of fill up this space. We moved a couple months ago. So, I do have a rug and, all those good things, but I am doing my best. So bear with me for the time being if this is a little bit echoey. And okay, so I just want to move right into then saying thank you to those of you who reached out to me on Instagram over the last couple of weeks. It's been really exciting. I feel like I have so many friends in all different parts of the world, and I love hearing from you and meeting you. Well, meeting you, I should say. So thank you. It's been really exciting. And if you have not done so already, please feel free to go give us a follow on Instagram. My handle is Light After Trauma. It's just the name of this podcast. We are putting out some good content, and feel free to shoot me a DM and say hi. It's been really fun getting to meet people. So on that note, no, I'm lying. There's one more thing that I wanted to say, and that was, if you haven't done so already, please go leave us a review wherever you like to listen. It would mean so much. It is really helpful in terms of being able to get this content out to more people. The more reviews and ratings that the podcast gets, the more people that it reaches. Basically, the more press it gets, essentially, to put it, point blank. It's really about the ratings and the reviews. And it's really important to me to be able to get this content out to as many people as possible, because the mental health crisis is real right now. It is probably the worst that I've ever seen it to date. And, the pandemic has so much to do with it. And there are just simply not enough therapists to meet the needs of everybody who is searching for help and support and comfort. And it is only continuing to get worse, unfortunately. So I just want to make sure that as many people out there are aware that there is some free content. If they're not able to get into a therapist, if it's scheduling purposes, if it's that they can't find a good therapist, if it's financial reasons, I want this content to be available for people. So I appreciate this. Thank you in advance for all of the support, as always. And speaking of mental health and the need being in increasing demand for services, we are talking today about seasonal depression, or the blues, or whatever you want to call it. Some people have an issue with calling it depression, and I think that's more because of the stigma surrounding depression. But I mean, I don't know. Some people call it the blues, the winter blues, whatever it may be. I call it seasonal depression. It is real. It is a very real thing. And I actually didn't think that I struggled with this, but over the last few years, I've really started to struggle. And now that daylight savings time has happened, it is getting dark super early and it is cold. And depending on where you're at, listen, if you're over there in San Diego, it might still be sunny and warm, and this might not pertain to you, but it is still getting dark a little bit earlier. So whether it's the darkness that is a little bit depressing for you, or whether it is the cold weather that is depressing for you, this is going to be a good episode because I am talking about tips to combat seasonal depression. And I think that these tips are really helpful, not just for right now, because right now we're in this place where we have the excitement of the holidays upon us. But after January 1st, really, I feel like those months from like January to March before the warmer weather gets here are really a struggle for people. So these tips are helpful, I think, right now as basically up until I think it's December 21st, that it's just going to keep getting darker earlier and earlier. So it's helpful for right now, but it's also helpful for, after the holidays when we're sort of just waiting for the winter weather to roll around. There really aren't any holidays. There's not much going on. I'm going to be talking about some of the things that really help me. So I'm going to be talking about a few different products that I use. None of these are advertisements. I am simply letting you know what products I enjoy using. So the first thing that I think can really help you is using a vitamin D supplement. And again, disclaimer here, please speak to your doctor or your healthcare professional. This is not medical advice. I am not a doctor. So this is simply a suggestion that you might want to consider bringing up with your healthcare professional, with your doctor, your general practitioner, whoever. But vitamin D comes from the sun. And that is something that in the wintertime, we tend to lack. I'm even deficient in vitamin D in the summertime because I don't go outside as much because I am so prone to getting burned. Even with, 100 SPF on, I get burned. So I'm vitamin D deficient all year round, and I notice a huge difference. Vitamin D comes in, I think, many different things. I think it comes in like gel capsules, and then I take it in a liquid form. So I just have like 2 drops on my tongue every day, and it is really, really helpful for me. So during this time of year when we are getting less sunshine, it is important to make sure that we are not deficient in anything. And that doesn't just go for vitamin D, that goes for honestly, all of the supplements. I know that for me in the wintertime, for whatever reason, it's a pattern for me. I tend to be deficient in B12. And B12, when you're deficient in it, can cause lots of anxiety, lots of depression, fatigue, etc. So it's a good idea to talk to your doctor, and it is an even better idea to try to get some blood work as well, just to see where your levels are at. That way, if it's something that you need, because having those supplements, especially vitamin D, can help get you through the darker, colder months. And again, please talk to your doctor or your primary care physician before doing anything that is not medical advice, but just something you should talk to your doctor about. So the next thing that I have found to be really helpful is avoiding triggering TV shows. So I know that the nighttime is when people love to put on the TV. I love to put on the TV too. I am, no stranger to television. I love TV, but there are certain shows that I have found that if I start watching at night, especially during the winter, and like the fall months when it's dark by 4 o'clock, I get really depressed. So that includes like my true crime shows. I was watching, what was I watching? I was watching Burn Notice. If you have not watched Burn Notice and you like, action packed, funny, it's all fictional, but it has Jeffrey Donovan in it and Sharon Gless and Gabrielle Anwar, Bruce Campbell, some of the most amazing. Jeffrey Donovan is the most amazing actor I have seen. I have no idea why he is not Hollywood's biggest, most famous celebrity, but I digress. Anyway, Burn Notice is one of my favorite shows of all time, but there is violence and it can get a little bit emotional at times. So I cannot watch Burn Notice. In fact, I actually had to, the show is 7 seasons. And I had to stop watching it in the middle of season 7 because I noticed that I was getting it was depressing me. I was really getting in my head about the show. And that's a real thing that happens to so many of us. I know I'm not the only one. So be very intentional about the shows that you watch this time of year. I personally have been loving, don't laugh at me, loving the Muppets. So if you have Disney Plus, there is a entire section dedicated to the Muppets, and there's actually a comedy. I think it's like a spin-off of The Office. Again, don't judge me for this, but I have never seen The Office. I've seen bits and pieces. I'm more of a Parks and Rec kind of girl, but the Muppets, I think, is like a spin-off of The Office, and unfortunately, it was canceled after 1 season, but you need to go and watch that season. It is hysterical. And Pepe, the King Prawn, he's my favorite Muppet of all time. Please don't get me started. But that is something for me that is hysterical. It is not triggering. And the Muppets have I think they have a bunch of different movies on there too. So we saw a video or a movie with, I think it was Muppets Most Wanted. It is just hysterical and you need to go watch it if you haven't. But what I'm trying to say here is I want you to watch shows that are more like that. It doesn't necessarily need to be the Muppets. You can put on a Disney movie. You can put on really any show. You can put on Friends. You can put on, I'm really into the older stuff, like some 90s shows I've been watching lately or some early 2000 shows, but be very, very intentional about not watching something that's going to be super triggering in any way, shape, or form. So enough about TV, because honestly, I could talk about TV shows all day. So another tip that I have found really helpful is the use of candles and diffusers. I have both. So I have a diffuser that I really love, and they're not super expensive. I bought mine on Amazon, I think, and mine has it lights up, it turns to all different colors. And I really like putting not so much a lavender in there. I like the lavender when it's nighttime because lavender, I think, is supposed to help with relaxation. But when it's 4 or 5 o'clock and it's pitch black outside, and I know I have a few more clients or a few more hours of work, or I need to cook dinner, I will pop on maybe a citrusy scent of some sort. And that will really, kind of re-energize me and make me feel a lot better. And I, of course, love candles. I was on the hunt for candles that were a little bit cleaner, that didn't have so many paraffins in them, because I was getting a ton of headaches from the candles that this particular brand, I'm not going to out them, but I was using this particular brand of candles. They're a very popular company, and I just found that I was getting headaches all the time. So I had to stop using them for a while. But I discovered this one company. What is it called? I think it's called 1803. And they're on Instagram. You can go look them up, and they have a website. I actually bought a couple candles that they had in a local place near me, but their candles are amazing. They smell so great that I was actually burning one last night. And when I woke up this morning, I blew it out before I went to bed. When I woke up this morning, my house still smelled like that candle. I think the name of the candle is Cookies for Saint Nick. And yes, I've already broken out the Christmas candles. I mean, absolutely. So candles really important, but try to get ones that have some cleaner ingredients. I think that the 1803 company, their candles can be, in my opinion, a bit on the pricier side, but nothing that I don't think you would pay anything more or less for like a candle that you would get really anywhere else. The only other place I've seen candles that are cheaper that have clean ingredients are Home Goods. They're kind of hard to find, but if you go search at Home Goods, you can find a great candle for like $12. So if, you're concerned about finances, go hunting at Home Goods. Home Goods has some really good candles. And of course, you can always grab a diffuser, essential oils. They last forever and they smell amazing. Now, this next tip is one of my favorites because this is truly what gets me through the darker and colder days, and that is the use of lighting. And I touched on this a little bit with the candles, but lighting is so important. Like when it gets dark at 4 o'clock, the melatonin starts to kick in our brain. And the melatonin is sending that signal, right? Melatonin is associated with sleep. So when it's dark out by 4 or 5 o'clock, we're ready for bed at 4 or 5 o'clock because that melatonin is there. Now, serotonin is associated with wakefulness. So we want to increase those levels of serotonin once it starts to get dark out. And ways that you can do that are with lighting, right? That's one of the reasons why they say don't look at your phone right before you go to bed at night, because the light from your phone can actually increase the serotonin levels and decrease the melatonin levels, causing you to stay awake for longer. So this is very, very important. And one of the things that I love is decorating. And yes, I know there's this big, huge debate about when people should decorate for Christmas. And, I feel like it's been a forever debate. I feel like every year, the celebration of Christmas gets earlier and earlier. And at this point, it's like people are celebrating in August. Okay, I get it. For me, when it hits daylight savings time, I'm ready to decorate for Christmas. And that has nothing to do with rushing Thanksgiving or with not really paying attention to Thanksgiving. That's not it at all. The Christmas decorations, all of the lights truly help me to feel better. They give me the serotonin that I need to continue to get through. My house feels so much sadder when I look around and it's 5 p.m. and I've still got 3 more hours worth of work to do. And all I have is like a basic light from the ceiling fan. It saddens me. It truly does. But when my house is decorated to the nines, and I'm telling you, do not be ashamed of decorating your house early. When my house is decorated, I feel so much better. I feel cozier, happier. So do not be ashamed. Do not let people tell you that you can't decorate before Thanksgiving. Light your house up like a goddamn Christmas tree. I'm telling you, my house is fucking lit. It is a goddamn Christmas tree in here. And I am not sorry about it because it keeps me from feeling super depressed. There are some other sources of lighting that I've also found really helpful. So those Himalayan salt lamps, I'm pretty sure you could grab one on Amazon. And I don't believe they're overly expensive. I think it kind of depends on what you get. But I don't believe that they're overly pricey. So they have amazing benefits. Himalayan salt lamps are meant to cleanse and deodorize and purify the air. And they're actually also really good for allergies and asthma. They can help with blood flow. They can help with your energy levels. They can help with concentration and really just enhance your overall mood. Those things are the bomb. Highly recommend. And, other things you can do with lighting. I actually just bought some curtain lights. They were like $10 at Target, but I'm going to hang them in my office here because as I'm recording this, it is 4:30 and it's already pretty much getting dark out. So I'm going to actually hang these curtain lights in my office. They just look very dreamy and very peaceful to me and very cozy, and it helps me. And I know it can help you too, because light is so, so important for our mental health. So that's my favorite. That's lighting. There are so many different things you can do with lighting. Please have fun with it. It is the best. And do not be afraid to decorate your whole house for the holidays anytime you want. If you want to leave your Christmas tree up all year, leave your Christmas tree up all year. Do what makes you happy. Okay, so next is I've also found that it's really helpful to change up my exercise routine. And it might be helpful for you to do the same. So, what I mean by changing up your exercise routine, I mean changing up the time that you do it. If you're somebody who typically exercises in the morning, maybe try to exercise at night. If you are exercising at night, then you're releasing endorphins, which is going to help keep that seasonal depression away. Pretty plain and simple. Again, it's that is easier said than done, of course. But even if you work out 2 days a week, if you can take one of those workouts and move it to the evening, that will help so, so much. So that's just a thought. And that's something that I have found to be really helpful. Now, the next thing is, and this is a hard one, taking breaks from social media, in particular at night. So again, the phone with the lighting, it's not necessarily the right kind of lighting that we want when it gets dark out. What happens is it is dark by 5. You are sitting on the couch, just got done a long day at work, and you're scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and you're seeing everyone else's posts and all of their highlight reels, and you're in the comparison game. So it's dark, it's cold, it's gloomy, and here you are on social media watching other people have the time of their lives, or at least that's what they're portraying on social media. And that's not really going to boost your mood. That's going to instead make your brain go, oh, well, look at them. They, wherever they are in the world, they still have light, and they did this today and they did that today. And here I am sitting on my couch doing nothing. It is so depressing. I have really come a long way in terms of getting my ass off of social media at night, because it makes me so sad. Those same content creators that I love during the day make me sad at night, because I'm sort of just hanging out and vibing and it's dark, but they're just, maybe across the world where it's sunny and they're doing this and doing that. And there are people who are still at the beach. And I'm just like, oh, well, isn't my life sad? And again, I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, because a lot of my clients report this as well. So try to be very intentional about your social media usage at night. I know it's difficult because social media is such a habit for us, including myself, but try doing other things, like things that are more hands-on, so that you don't find yourself just like, 2 hours into scrolling TikTok. Again, things that help for me are, I really enjoy puzzling. I am loving puzzles, and I get puzzles that are super vibrant in color. I do all of the Thomas Kincaid Disney puzzles. They're like the 1,000-piece ones. And then what I do is I actually save the puzzle. I'll put like an adhesive backing on it, and then I'll frame it. It's just something that's really fun for me to do. But I also enjoy, you can paint if you enjoy painting. I love the paint by numbers. If you Google paint by numbers, there's like websites that come up, and there are adult paint by numbers kits. And I love them because I'm not very creative. And when it comes to painting, I really like the structure of being able to color in the lines, and it's just fun. It's just a lot of fun to do. And I'm not really in my head when I'm doing it. I'm concentrating, and it just helps keep me off social media and gives me something like productive and I think exciting to do. So feel free to look up any of those things: puzzles, painting, knitting. Honestly, I had a knitting phase. I'm not that good at it, but I had a knitting phase and it really did help me. So the last few things are being intentional about who you talk to after sunset. So what I mean by this is especially if you are a trauma survivor who has people in your life that might be triggering to you, people that you have contact with, but the relationship is a little strained for whatever reason. It might not be the best idea to pick up the phone when they call after dark. And that's because you can be triggered by them. And we don't want to get triggered, right? Being dark so early and cold it's hard enough. So you do not want to then have to deal with possibly being triggered on top of it. So be mindful about who you're talking to. If you know that you are going to be getting a call from somebody, give them a call during the day if you can, when it's still light out. That way, by the time the evening comes, you have completely enveloped yourself in absolute safety. And then another thing that I have found really helpful are plants. I've talked about plants on my social media, and I don't know if I've talked about plants on the podcast, but I am a huge plant lover, and I have a lot of indoor plants. I guess a lot. How many do I have? Oh, I think I actually have like 11. Yeah, no, that's a lot. All right. I'm officially a plant lover, and a plant mom to 11 beautiful plants. And I have these grow lights. Again, you can get them on Amazon. They're called grow lights, and you can like clip them to like the side of a desk or the side of a table, or you can get ones that stand up. And I love having them because I have something that I have to take care of. So even on those nights when I'm feeling really depressed and really lonely, I know that I have to keep myself safe because I've got to keep my plants safe and healthy, and I've got to nurture them, and I've got to make sure that they are getting water and food, and that I am dusting their leaves. Yes, that is a thing. My fellow plant lovers will know. And it might sound silly, but I really care about my plants because I feel like my plants have greatly increased I feel like my plants have actually greatly reduced my levels of depression. And they also really help to detoxify the air around me. They're a great visual for me, and I care about them. And I get so excited when I see them doing really well. I actually was gifted an orchid from a friend about a month ago. And I woke up today and saw like a little root that was starting to grow. And I got so excited. So it's the little things, right? It's so helpful for me. And it doesn't have to be a plant. It could be really any animal. It also could be a fish. If you are looking for an animal that is pretty low commitment and you're not really a plant person, you don't really want a dog, you don't really want a cat, you need something that's pretty low commitment, low maintenance, go buy a betta fish, right? How many of those betta fish, when you walk into a PetSmart or a Petco, how many of those betta fish are sitting in those little tiny, like 4-ounce containers with nowhere to swim? They look so sad. Go get yourself a betta fish. They're colorful, they're fun, they're easy to take care of. They're not going to take up a whole ton of your time. And it is something for you to nurture and love. And it's something for you to come home to. And that is really helpful. So then the last two things are drink tea if you are not a tea drinker. The warmth is really, really helpful. And also there's tons of wonderful herbal teas out there that can really do a lot for your mood. So if you're not a tea drinker, I'm sure you can find a tea out there for you. If you are a tea drinker, stock up on some tea this winter. Give yourself some options. And then lastly, don't forget to stay hydrated, right? Sometimes depression and fatigue and exhaustion can be dehydration. Again, I'm not saying depression is directly linked to dehydration, but sometimes we can feel really sad and just fatigued and off, and it might actually be dehydration. When it gets colder, we don't want to drink as much because, well, it's cold and we don't feel as thirsty, but we actually need water more than ever in the cold weather because it dries us out. And especially the heat, having the heat on in your home, all that heat dries you out as well. So it is so important to stay hydrated, whether that's through tea, whether that's water, whatever it is you may like, make sure that you are staying hydrated. So all of these things have helped me so much and will get me through this season of cold and darkness, especially after the holidays. I struggle the most. I would say January, February, March are the hardest months for me. Actually, part of the reason why I picked a wedding date in March is because March is sort of just like that cold month where we're all like ready for the spring. And I was like, oh, I need something to celebrate this month. So that's part of why we picked March for our wedding date. But that's neither here nor there. So I hope that these tips help you as I cannot speak today. I hope that these tips helped you as much as they have helped me. And if you have any other thoughts or questions or comments, you can feel free to shoot me an email at lightaftertrauma@gmail.com. And I am wishing you all a wonderful rest of your week. Take care. And I am holding you all in the light. Thanks for listening, everyone. For more information, please head over to lightaftertrauma.com, or you can also follow us on social media. On Instagram, we are at lightaftertrauma, and on Twitter, it is at lightafterpod. Lastly, please head over to patreon.com/lightaftertrauma to support our show. We are asking for $5 a month, which is the equivalent to a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So please head on over again. That's patreon.com/lightaftertrauma. Thank you, and we appreciate your support.